ready for another lesson?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 13 of Back Row Banter, your favorite
Lucky
casual
13.
movie talk. Is it lucky? I was going to say, is it Friday? But it's Monday. It's not close. Episode number 13 of your favorite casual movie talk podcast. We're keeping it casual here, boys. Yes, we
I
are.
feel casual.
Monday.
Did you
actually introduce our title? Who are we?
Well, I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, no,
I
I
said
mean
it's
the
Back
actual
Row
title of the podcast. Oh, did you?
I already said it.
Are you sure?
Indeed.
I think I did.
It's Back Row Banter.
On today's
everyone.
show of Back Row Banter, we have some news for you. We got the season 2 release date for Mandalorian. Some trailer talk. We have 3 new trailers for you today. 3 whole new trailers. Usually we don't have any trailer talk, but here we have 3.
Trailer
And
alert.
our new to streaming is nothing special. Only a few things here and there. We're gonna get to our what we're watching, and then our main review for this episode is Inception. Before we get to any of that, though, I am your host, Adam Schwartz. Joining me today is... Did we have a new name for you yet, Nathaniel? New month.
No, not yet. Not quite yet. We're almost there. We can go with spooky because I'm getting spooky.
Scary Nathaniel Gingrich.
That's me.
How are you doing there, spooky, scary Nathaniel Gingrich?
Man, I'm chilling. It's been a busy week. Tyler and I just came off the 4-day weekend, obviously. So we do, as salesmen, that's a big weekend for us. So we've been grinding, but should have some time off now for just a little bit. You know,
Ready to go to bed.
Yeah, for sure.
It is only 8 o'clock. You are very old, sir.
Thank you. I'll be older in about 2 weeks.
That's true.
And that old man over there.
Yeah, September 27th.
Eventually.
Yeah, big 3-0.
Well, celebrating the big 3-0 in a couple weeks is Tyler Vidalis. How you say hi, Tyler?
Hey.
That's where you come in. That's your cue, as they say in the biz.
Do it again. Start me back up.
All right. And over there, coming up with the big 3-0 birthday is Tyler Vidalis.
Sesame Street.
Hey.
And last but not least, it is Big Cat Blake. Big Cat, what up?
Yes, sir. What's up, man? How you doing?
I think that's my favorite part of the week. Every week, I get very excited when I get to say it's Big Cat Blake.
Big Cat. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a Big Cat fact for us for today? Or are we taking a week off here?
I don't think I got one, man.
All right, that's all right. You know,
busy
we
week.
can't just spoil ourselves.
I got one.
Like,
okay.
You got a Big Cat fact?
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
Scary.
I have to hang on. I have to get clearance from Big Cat Blake. Big Cat Blake.
Yeah, I want to hear this. I'm curious.
All right, go ahead.
It's an anecdotal story. I once saw at this like crazy, almost Tiger King-esque zoo in Arizona. I saw a female lion bite a bowling ball in half.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, she bit down
An actual bowling ball.
Yeah, like a full-on bowling ball. I guess they like bought them from like thrift stores around the thing, and it was like their thing that they would just do. And then you saw a cat bite a bowling ball.
What was it? What kind of cat was it?
It was a female lion.
So painful.
A lioness.
That feels like that would destroy your. I feel like that would destroy the teeth. I have no doubt that it has the strength to like get through a bowling ball, but I just feel like that would the material. Like,
it wasn't like a chomp. She just like cracked it.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, still though.
Yeah,
that's still like.
If you're actually looking for a fact in that, the bite force of a lion is 650 psi.
There you go.
That's a lot. That's a lot of psi.
Bowling balls weaker than 650 psi.
Well, that is a fun fact.
Note to self.
Fact.
I'm educated. All right. Well, let's get in the show here. We'll go to the news. Mandalorian season 2 has a release date set for October 30th. I know, Blake, you were just so excited for this second season, right?
Yeah, man. I don't have any input on anything Star Wars, so I'll let you guys kind of cook that one.
Sure. I'm sure Ty and Izzo, though, are pretty excited, right?
I'm hyped.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Did you guys like the first season?
I loved it.
I was pretty positive overall. I don't think there was certain episodes where I'm like, but I think
I would agree
overall I
with
was
that,
pretty positive.
Overall, I really liked it. But you're right. There
I
were
thought it
some
was really unique.
Yeah, it was. How they shot the show is really cool too, where they had the
Yeah.
basically like a giant LED screen.
Yeah, I've seen some.
They filmed the whole thing on one stage basically, and had the sets change with the background, like the screen in the background. I don't know, really cool.
I've watched a couple things on YouTube about that. Mr. Sunday Movies has a great breakdown of that called "The Death of the Green Screen," I think. So if anyone's interested in looking more into that, because they're actually using it on more films now too. But
It looks great.
Yeah, no,
Sure.
they haven't really released a trailer or anything for it, and it's coming out in less than 2 months. So I don't know if that is a good thing because we're not going to be spoiled for anything going into it, or a bad thing because we should be worried about the production side of it. But regardless,
I have thoughts on that.
as of now, yeah, go ahead.
I think it'll kind of tie into trailer talk later.
Okay.
But I don't mind not having a trailer for that.
Oh, I don't either. I just
Agreed.
as far as like the production side of it though, like it does usually when things come out in less than 2 months and there's nothing, we haven't seen anything from it, that can be a little concerning. In this case, I don't really know because they finished production for this before quarantine and everything happened back in March.
Gotcha.
So it's been in post-production while quarantine's been going on, so I'm not too concerned about that because I'm sure they were able to figure out how to switch it over once quarantine started. But yeah, still kind of odd that we haven't seen anything, but still we'll get in about a month and a half, less than 2 months.
Yeah, I guess I would almost be more concerned about shortness of writing schedule between, because they turned around on that so
They did turn
fast to
around
get that
pretty
thing into production.
But they did
if they
take a
didn't have
pretty
good
long
plan.
time with season 1, so I feel like they probably had enough time for season 2, and they just kind of went straight into production.
When did season 1 of that come out? That was what, 2019?
That launched
Yeah,
with
last year.
Yeah, that was last year.
November last year.
Disney Plus.
Wow, so they're rattling off another season in 1 year.
Yeah, it's coming back really fast.
Yeah.
But hey, I need my Baby Yoda film, man. I miss Baby Yoda.
Yodeler.
That's probably the one character I do know from that TV show. It's just Baby Yoda.
That was
we have the Yodeler.
Yeah, Yodeler's chilling in our hutch.
Yeah.
Which I think Tyler actually told me that that's not Baby Yoda. That's just his species, but just a child.
Yeah, we've had this conversation. I think off pod, probably. But they call it Baby Yoda because they haven't confirmed this name for the species.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody just calls it Baby Yoda. Alrighty. Well, let's move on to the next story. We got Robert Pattinson has COVID-19 and the Batman has halted production. So this story comes from Vanity Fair. They were the first to break this. The production, Warner Bros. Released a statement saying someone tested positive on the production of the Batman, and so all production has ceased, which seemed a little odd because one person testing positive shouldn't shut down the whole thing as long as they're able to isolate that. But it turns out Vanity Fair is reporting that it's Robert Pattinson himself who tested positive, so that made a lot more sense when that came out. But they were the only people to say that was him, and there has been no statements or anything saying if it was indeed him, but according to them it was. He was the person that tested positive. So unfortunate news. Hopefully he recovers and recovers fast, and hopefully we can get that Batman movie cooking because I want that as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that, and just seeing Tenet, I think is that the name we're going to go with now, and seeing Robert Pattinson in that, it's just good to see him on film, So
he's really broken out of his Twilight career, kind of, because a lot of people in his position, you could go with Daniel Radcliffe or something like that, would have the role of Twilight and then get stuck in that role and not really be able to break out of it. I think he definitely has. He was in a gap or a little bit of a lull, but he's really come out of that. The past few years, he's had quite a few good movies. I think there's one called Good Time or something like that that I see on Netflix all the time.
Good Time is excellent.
Yeah, I've heard that's really good, and I've been meaning to watch it.
Twilight is epic.
I'm not knocking Twilight. I'm just saying a lot of people will get stuck in that role.
It is sizzle. There may be more Twilight coming up later.
Foreshadow.
So yeah, hopefully he's gets back on his feet soon. We can get back to production there. And then our last news story for today is that Tenet, whichever one,
It's
we are
Tenet.
open to both.
Confirmed in the
Tenet.
film as Tenet. Yeah.
Oh, it's
Okay.
it's
Or
in
no,
the film.
no, they actually,
Yeah, they pronounce it like Tenet.
yeah, they do,
Tenet. Okay, Tenet. Okay.
because they
Well-
used it. Yeah, it does show up there. Minor
All right. Well,
spoiler,
Tenet
but not really.
debuts
Yeah,
to 20
not
million as U.S. theaters reopen, nears 150 million globally. So not an overwhelming box office weekend for Tenet, but not terrible at the same time considering the times that we're in. So 20 million in the US, pretty low on the low end for a movie like this. You wouldn't expect it, but obviously because of the quarantine, it's going to be low. You're going to see lower numbers. And then 150 worldwide. That was to be expected. That's been out in other markets already because this was the first weekend that it would hit the US. So they've had some money accumulating past few weeks, and then finally when it hit US this weekend, they're releasing all those numbers. I think somewhere in the story, which comes from Hollywood Reporter, of course, gave the amount they need to make their money back, but I can't find where it said that. But you guys saw Tenet. Why don't you guys talk about that really quick for a little bit? I haven't seen it personally. You all three saw it together, correct?
We did.
Yep.
All right. I want you guys to go. We're gonna have to talk about this at some point this episode, but I would like to keep as little spoilers for myself
Okay.
personally and for the audience that hasn't seen it.
I would just
Yeah.
say
Fair enough.
go see it. I don't care if you go see it. It's definitely it's definitely worth it. But just go out and support your local theater, please and thank you. I don't care what you see.
You would
Right.
recommend
I'm
it?
in the same boat.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely recommend for sure.
Yeah, good point. I'm with Tyler on that. Like I said, go out and support your local theater. I think I can speak for all three of us. I think we all enjoyed it. I think we all would recommend it. I think we all are on the side that's probably going to need another viewing, which I actually did see a second viewing of that this week. I went
Oh, really?
Saturday with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on a second viewing, as you can imagine, you get a lot more out of it on a second viewing.
One of those movies.
But yeah, I would. It's one of those movies, very Inception-esque, I guess. Right? If you had to make that a word, where you got to watch it a few times to figure out what's really going on. But I mean, I think anybody who likes those movies, anyone who likes Inception, Interstellar, I think you're gonna love it.
Sure. Really quick, it's saying in the story that it needs to make about 500 million worldwide to make money. So
I
not
think it'll do that.
Yeah, I think so too. They also said it's going to stay in theaters much longer than you'd expect.
Yeah, it's going to be in there for forever.
It's going to be in there for a while. So hopefully, eventually, it'll make its money back because I want to see more shit from Nolan, and he's gonna. It's not the success of this movie is not gonna hurt or his career or anything like that. But it would be good to make that money back after everything this movie's been through. All right, that's gonna be it for the news today. We have 3 trailers in Trailer Talk. Which one do you guys want to start with?
We can rattle them off in order if you want to.
Incoming trailer.
Sure. Well, the first trailer I have listed here is a new No Time to Die trailer. So the next Bond film with Daniel Craig, who I didn't think he was going to make another Bond. He seemed very against it, and I think they just gave him so much money he couldn't say no. I think at one point in an interview, he said he'd rather slash his wrists than play Bond again, and yet I think that was after Skyfall, and yet he's back. So interesting. But yeah, so new trailer for No Time to Die, which was originally set to release. What was the original release date of that? March? March or early April?
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, in the spring. It was already it's finished. It was already supposed to come out. They delayed that, of course, till November, and so they've just started and now that theaters are opening up, they're revamping their marketing campaign for it and released a new trailer. What do you guys think of this one?
I like the trailer. I'm kind of bonded out.
Seen them all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Mixed.
We were actually talking about it, and I was just my take on it is, I'm excited for a Bond movie. Bond movies are always cool. They're very futuristic. They make you, like want to live that life. But like, I think Daniel Craig is over this role, and I think it's at one point in the trailer, he says, "This is your new 000," and it's I feel like that 00 should get her own movie, and I feel like if they're just gonna do it, just do it. Don't like roll Daniel Craig into it and try and make it like about him and her. Like if you're gonna do it, just let Daniel Craig go, because I honestly thought that you already did. So yeah, and like I feel like 2 movies ago they made him look like really old, like he had to get like injections and go through these tests, and like now he looks better than he did, and I'm just it's very confusing.
Sure.
But that's my take.
I'm shocked at the Bond slander we have going on here. I think I don't know. I'm in on this one. This is the first one I've been excited for in a while. I'm mad because I wish they didn't show any of this trailer because I feel like I know exactly what's going to happen now.
Yeah, I didn't need this other trailer, but I understand why they had to release another one.
I was really excited because I knew Cary Joji Fukunaga was making this, and he directed all of the first season of True Detective. So if you're familiar with that style,
I am familiar with that style, Nathaniel.
He's just an incredible director, and I was just kind of trusting that it was going to be awesome. I was not a big fan of Spectre. I thought it was fine. I wasn't even that big of a fan of Skyfall, if I'm honest. It's kind of fine. I too think that this film sets up that actually the Craig Bond is retired in this universe and has left MI6. And so now this film is more a James Bond film where he's having to be brought back into this. And now that the other character, the new 00, is actually 007 now. And so it's kind of him doing that. So I think Tyler's right. They may be kind of setting this up as a backdoor kind of pilot so that you can have this 007 character who is a woman. And you can continue the series that way, and then someone else, and then you can also do a new James Bond who is a man, because I think the Broccoli's have always said that James Bond will always be a man, kind of thing.
That's I think they've said something like that.
So I think this may be kind of a test in the waters for that. Which, take of that what you will. I think the direction of that for the story though is actually really fascinating. So I'm excited on this one. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was not excited for it last time. Actually, this trailer made me more interested in it. I was always going to see it, and now I'm frustrated because I think I would have been pleasantly surprised. But now it feels like I am excited about it because I feel like I have a better idea of what's going on in it, which is kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, no, agreed. The other thing that really interests me about this movie is that Rami Malek is playing the villain. And he, of course, won the Oscar for playing Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody last year. Which, say what you want about that movie, but he's still a pretty good actor. So I'm excited to see him there. I would agree with you, Nathaniel, though, that I wasn't all too in, and they released another trailer, and I'm kind of like, okay, like I'm just looking for things to watch at this point with theaters closed, and so I'll definitely be going out and seeing this. I've liked the past few Bonds, but haven't loved them. I should actually honestly give them a rewatch sometime soon because I haven't seen all of them back to back to back or whatever in a pretty long time. So I think I might do that before this one, especially now that I think most of them are probably on streaming services. Might have to go do that.
Last week we talked about Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and literally everything at the moment.
Yeah, they both hit like 3 different streaming services.
Right.
All right, and then next trailer is a Welcome to Blumhouse trailer. So this is a kind of like a collage trailer, if you want to call it that, of 4 different horror movies or thrillers. It's not entirely clear which they are, but 4 thriller/horror movies coming to Amazon Prime this October, all from Blumhouse. So it's gonna be, it looks like one a week throughout October. What is not Ty? Blake and Nathaniel, this trailer do anything for you guys?
I'm really intrigued by the concept, and I like the idea, but none of these trailers look particularly good to me.
Yeah, and you don't really get too much out of the trailer, and
right.
And I know that article with Hollywood Reporter, they kind of detail a little bit for each movie.
Yeah, they do.
So I mean, I'll watch them. Right, they're coming out in October. It's a new horror movie in October. I'm a horror guy. I'll certainly watch it. Will they be anything of significance right in the horror genre? I mean, probably not, but they might be some fun October horror movies, you know.
I didn't get a chance to actually read the article very much. Is it going to be that they are these 4 directors that are vying for another Blumhouse like directing job? Because that'd be kind of interesting or something like that. Or are these just 4 directors that they just like picked up? And
It doesn't
and did
detail
some
anything
stuff?
like that. It just goes, so there's the 4 movies that has about a paragraph or 2 on each of them saying who it's directed
Okay.
by, a short synopsis of each one, because it's not clear by the trailer what each is about.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
very
the
kind
article
of
gets a little bit more detail into that.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I should have probably read the article, but I thought the trailer was kind of mediocre.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of them looked super good to me, but might check them out if I'm bored or something like that. But I have so much
Oh, I'll
horror to go
definitely
through.
watch them.
Yeah, I mean, I have so much horror to catch up on and go through already, so I don't know if any of these will make the top of my to watch list anytime soon.
And I'm with you. I wouldn't rush to put any of those
Yeah.
above anything. I'm pulling up the list right now to see if I can find one that's the most interesting. I thought they said there was one that had to do with their child's significant other thinking he has a mysterious past, and I think
Yeah,
that one might be the most interesting one.
Yeah, and that's the one that says it's based off an Audible original production, which means that it's already been written and produced at for something else. So it's
Evil
probably
Eye.
pretty effective. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, do you have anything else to say on that, or should we move on to the next one?
No, I mean I think the next one's definitely the
Next.
most important, if you ask me.
You guys are pretty excited about this next one. So it's The Haunting of Bly Manor. Blake, why don't you go ahead talk a little bit about this one? 'Cause you probably know.
Yeah, well, Nathaniel's read the book on it, so he probably knows much more
Okay.
about it than I do.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, it's the follow-up to season 1 of The Haunting of Hill House, where it's going to be an anthology series. It's by Mike Flanagan. If you guys have seen Oculus, Doctor Sleep, the second Ouija movie, any of those, Hush, yeah, that's a big one as well. That's a Netflix original, I believe. He's just got a pretty good head on his shoulders in terms of horror. And the first show,
did he direct the first season?
He did.
Yes.
And that first season is probably notoriously held as one of the best, right? Like horror first seasons you can have, especially in modern history for sure. So yeah, I'm super sold on season 2, dude. I'll watch it immediately the day it releases.
Gerald's Game too, which is supposed to be pretty good. I actually haven't seen that one yet.
That's the only film of his I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's also based off of a Stephen King one, but yeah, I'm so in on this. It's based off of The Turn of the Screw, which is one of my all-time favorite books. I first read it in college. It's written by a guy named Henry James, and it's the story kind of centers on a governess who comes to a mansion and is taking over the teaching of these 2 young children. And the mansion's owned by this kind of mysterious uncle who lives down in London. And the governess starts to realize that the children are kind of haunted by the ghost of the former governess, and also the former caretaker or horse. I think he's a stable guy or something like that. But it's one of the first ones I've ever read that really plays with is it psychological? Is it supernatural? Or is it even almost demonic? Something like that. And yeah, it's a really, really, really fun story. I can't wait to see what Flanagan does with this.
Yeah.
Haunting of Hill House is one of my favorites. I'm glad that they're not just like trying to tell that story again, that they're actually doing these other haunting kind of literary classics. So yeah, I'm really excited. It's funny that they're actually doing this because they just did kind of a reimagining of this at the beginning of 2020 called The Turning, which is apparently awful.
Oh, so that's that. I remember that movie releasing because that has what's his name, Finn
Wolfhard from
yeah,
Stranger Things. Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
Apparently it's just horrendous, but still very interesting that they decided to do this.
Unfortunate. Well,
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
it seems like this will be the one that's much more better held, I would imagine.
Oh, for sure, man.
I'm trying to see. October 9th is the release date for this.
And I think that's about the same time the first one came out. The first season came out 2018, and it's probably in that. I know it's in that October range.
Yeah,
I would assume so. Horror is always going to be coming out in October. Yeah, so that's all we really had for news and for trailer talk. We can move on to the new to streaming this week, which we don't have a ton. On Netflix, we have The Social Dilemma. That's actually a documentary series that I saw a little description of. It's like how social media has been affecting us and stuff like that. And I've been telling you guys that I want to get back into docs, and I haven't. so that kind of just put that on there. It's something I was kind of looking into. And then Netflix, we're also getting How to Train Your Dragon 2. Which is a series. Tyler, don't you like those?
Yeah, I think they're great.
Amazon Prime, you got nothing coming. Hulu is getting Prisoners, so if you haven't seen it on HBO Max, you get it on Hulu. And HBO Max doesn't have anything coming, and Disney Plus is getting Christopher Robin, and that's gonna be it for your new to streaming. Not a ton, but
Did we miss? I'm thinking of Ending Things.
What is this? Where is it?
It's a new Netflix movie. I don't know if it's out yet though.
Well, I'm thinking of Ending Things. Looking that up right now. That might have come up, and I just didn't recognize the name, so I didn't put it on there. Release date is August 28th. It's already out.
Okay, yeah, that'd be an interesting one at some point too. That's Charlie Kaufman. He's kind of considered one of the best, if not the best, living screenwriters. Currently, he's being John Malkovich and
okay,
all those good ones.
Yeah. It's got a 7 out of 10 on IMDb and 84% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 70 on Metacritic.
Yeah, it's almost like one of the. It almost seems like him doing more like a horror film, that kind of thing. Yeah, being John Malkovich, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Synecdoche, New York, Animalasia. Really interested in that. Sorry, that was random.
Oh no, I'm glad you added that in there.
Train of thought there.
Sure, yeah. Maybe check that out because it's not like listeners are getting anything else special on Netflix. So
I liked Christopher Robin. That was fun too.
I haven't seen that. Is that good? Isn't that the one where he grows up a little bit or something like that?
Yeah, it's adult Christopher Robin who finds Winnie and all the homies again. I was a big Winnie the Pooh guy as a kid.
So was I.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, let's move on to what we're watching here. Tyler, Nathaniel, what you guys been up to?
Well, Tenet was kicked off the week because I think we watched that the day after we recorded. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we've been watching more Attack on Titan.
Mm-hmm.
Good. How far are you guys into that?
We kind of had to slow down a little bit because we got really busy.
Yeah.
But we're season 2 now. I'm really loving it. I forgot how much. I figured out I'd only seen season 1. But I forgot how much I really enjoy that kind of world. And I think the adoption of the mobility gear and the way that they animate that is some of the best animation I think I've ever seen. And
just how so much better. And I'm so excited that you haven't seen things yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just how everything moves through the 3-dimensional space and all that kind of stuff is just really interesting to me. I love the aesthetic, the scale of everything, where half of it's just running on rooftops, chased by these like giant monsters and that kind of thing. So, really been enjoying that. Really I watched Twilight this week, actually.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Which one?
The first one, yeah, has not aged well. Aged really bad.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it sucks because I think both Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson are really good actors, and you can kind of see them doing the most they possibly can, but the writing is so bad.
Yeah.
When did that first one come out? Was it 2008?
I want to say.
Yeah, that's probably like when I was in middle school, dude.
All right, now be careful here,
Twilight,
guys, because one of our biggest fans is like the biggest fan of these movies, so we gotta tread carefully here.
Ryan Foley, this is it.
I have nothing bad to say about the Twilight saga. I have nothing bad to say, and like you said, I think Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson.
New Moon's bad. New Moon's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's one of the worst written books I've ever seen.
Pump the brakes, you guys.
No. I'm a I'm a fan of its cultural relevance, and I actually don't mind them as films. I love that the third one's directed by David Slade, who's most famous for also directing 30 Days of Night, which is just a complete opposite style vampire
and
movie.
that's 30 Days of Night is one of the best vampire movies I've ever seen.
Oh, it's great, incredible,
without a doubt.
But yeah, so that was my other thing that I watched this week, and then I also watched Sorry to Bother You.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
What'd you think of that, man?
Dude, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Yeah.
That's another one I've been really wanting to watch.
Was that the first time you've seen that?
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Adam.
Oh, you're good. No, I had nothing really else to say. So,
Yeah.
what is that streaming on? Is that HBO?
Hulu, I want to say.
Yeah, that thing's been on Hulu for a long, like years, almost pretty much since after its release.
They probably just bought it.
Yeah, but that's a movie I saw in theaters with one of my friends, and it just was not what it was advertised to be.
Hulu,
and I remember watching it, and it
goes in a wild direction.
Oh my god, yeah, you don't see it coming at all.
But
So, yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought the commentary it makes is insane. I think it and Blind Spotting as a kind of 1-2 punch would be a good little cocktail for anyone out there on the weekend, or a nice little double feature. But yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Boots Riley, who's best known as a rapper, directed it. First time director, from what I've been able to tell. Guys like that are just so multi-talented. Tom Ford's another one. He did a Nocturnal Animals from a few years ago. They just make me want to throw up. Like, good for them.
Yeah.
Is that it then, Nathaniel?
Yeah, I think that's mostly and just Inception.
Yeah. Ty, did you just kept saying you had a busy week, but did you watch anything else besides Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I did actually. I got Attack on Titan, obviously. I did get some more of My Hero Academia done, which is nice. Justin even came over and watched a little bit of that with me, so that was pretty cool. We were just
Justin is
chilling.
your brother, for those who don't
Justin
know.
is my brother. What's up, dude? And then Leah and I actually got into Disney Plus, which is generally where her and I go when we're looking to watch a movie. But we watched the one and only Ivan.
Oh, did you guys watch that?
Why do I feel like I've heard that, but I don't know.
It was a kind of mildly famous book from a few years ago.
I was gonna say it's a pretty big book. But yeah, it was a cute movie. Obviously, like talking animals and stuff, so kind of like that Dr. Dolittle kind of feel, except humans can't talk to animals. But it was cute. It was pretty good for the most part. And then we also watched Cinderella, the live action one.
Which live action one? There's a bunch.
Man, which one was it? It's from a while ago.
Who's in it?
God, I can't think of her name. The main one that I want to think of it, at least. Hold on, I'll pull it up for you. It's the 2015 one. With Lily James, Kate Blanchett. That's who I was thinking of.
Okay.
Richard Madden, who people probably know more famously through Game of Thrones. Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh one.
Tyler, who's he in Game of Thrones?
He's Robb Stark.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, you're right. And then you guys said last week you were thinking about renting Mulan. Did that end up happening?
We did not get around to it this week just because we got so busy towards the end of the week, but it's definitely something that we are probably still planning on.
Do you guys
Mulan
want?
And
Yeah,
Bill and Ted's.
I've heard pretty bad things about Mulan, but
really
interesting. Yes. I've been trying to stay away from social media. No, I don't. I typically, when I know I'm going to see a movie, I try and stay away from social media or any kind of spoilers or anything like that as much as possible.
I didn't want to. I was hesitant to say that. I didn't want to infringe on your thoughts.
No, you're totally good.
But
that's what this podcast is for.
Of course, I will be interested to see what you guys think of that, because I will go and rent it based on your recommendation. So.
Well, now either way, I'm going to tell you it's great just so you burn $30.
Don't do that to me. I have no money. I'm in college, bro. That's rude. All right, Blake, what you been up to, bud?
Not much, man. Pretty busy week, I think, as all of us. One thing I did get to Ready or Not. It's on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah,
Is that the
and
wrestling movie?
No.
No.
Oh, that's Ready to Rumble. Sorry. Totally, total brain fart. Which is a hilarious movie, by the way.
No, it's all good, man. But yeah, I got to Ready or Not, which came out last year, and just kind of never got around to seeing it. And it was like Friday, pretty long day. I was like, I'm just gonna sit down and have something just kind of have on for like a popcorn movie. So I don't know how familiar you guys are with it. I know Nathaniel said he saw it. So the premise is it's a bride on her wedding night to get basically introduced, quote unquote, to the family. They have to play a game. The family's like a filthy rich family, and her game she pulls is hide and seek. And the catch is that they are obviously trying to seek her, but they have to kill her, right? So she has to survive for a night. And that's like obviously the super raw premise. It's like a dark comedy horror, but it does everything it's supposed to do, in my opinion. I liked it. How did you kind of feel about it, Danny? I know you said
I thought it was so much fun. Like
Yeah.
it is definitely more of a black comedy almost than it is a horror film. But yeah, I thought it was just a great fun movie. Good one for if you are like getting into kind of the fall Halloween spooky spirit, but don't necessarily like big scary movie or something. Easy one to kind of ease yourself into.
This might be right up my alley.
Yeah, I think I think you'll be fine for not being big on horror. I mean, this is even something you could probably sit down with a group of people. Obviously, now we're COVID rules, less than 10. But I think you can sit down and people enjoy it for sure. The star in that one is going to be Samara Weaving.
Hugo Weaving's daughter.
Oh, okay. So that's who that is. And I've saw her one other thing. She's in Guns Akimbo. And she's in a few other things.
Yeah, she's in 3 Billboards Outside Ebbets, Missouri, or whatever that was from a few years ago. Yeah, Ebbets, Missouri.
I really like that movie. That movie's great.
And then she's also in she's in the new Bill and Ted. She plays one of the daughters. But we haven't got to see that yet either.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I mean, I think she did pretty good. She's the character who's given the bulk of the runtime. You know, she's the bride.
Carries it well.
Yeah, she's great as
well.
Like it's cool, man. You'll get some laughs out of it. There's some gore if you're really into that type of stuff, and it's got a pretty cool, funny ending. The directors on that are 2 gentlemen. There's a Tyler Gillett and a Matt. I'm definitely going to butcher his last name, so I'm not going to bother doing that. But
Nelly Olpin.
Yeah,
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, they are actually directors from VHS. And I've been trying to figure out what short story they did, and I can't figure out which one they did. I
think it might be one off. I think it might be one off Viral, but these guys supposedly the rumor is that they are getting Scream 5.
They are. That's the next thing
that's on their Letterboxd right now.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because I think they were talking about and they were talking about casting someone else that I was really interested in for that.
There's Courtney Cox is on board.
Well, yeah, I knew she's coming back. For me, it all depends if Neve Campbell comes back because she was like my first childhood crush in that movie.
Yeah.
And like Wes Craven's one of my personal faves, one of the OGs.
But yeah, that's all I got to. I did that. Watched a little bit of Prometheus today with my dad. Kind of sat down, but I was doing some things between it. So kind of watched that, and then one thing I did start on Saturday morning, but I had a super busy day for the holidays, so I ended up having to leave to go to a buddy's house. But I started Session 9, and that's a horror movie.
Oh,
yeah. I think. Have you seen that, Nathaniel, by chance?
I haven't seen it, but I remember it when it came out. It's kind of a cult classic. I feel like most people kind of recognize that it's being pretty decent, right?
Yeah. So it's from like 2002, and it's on Netflix, and it has to do with like these like
cleaning a mental ward.
Yeah,
it's right. I can read the description really quick here. It's tensions rise within an asbestos cleaning crew as they work in an abandoned mental hospital with a horrific past that seems to be coming back.
Yeah, so
which sounds like a wild fucking premise.
Yeah, really slow burn though, really slow burn. And it was very interesting to me. I didn't get to finish it, so I do need to kind of get to that this week. But yeah, it's really good. It's kind of got a play on the asylum obviously has a really bad past, and one of the patients has like a personality disorder. And this guy finds her file as they're cleaning the asylum, right? As they're trying to renovate it. And he starts reading into her file. And I think he starts to become like mentally incompetent just from reading her personalities and stuff. So it's pretty cool. That's my gut of where I think it's going, but it was super cool. Maybe not for everybody if you're not a horror guy.
You said you started it, you haven't finished it?
Yeah, I have not finished it.
Gotcha.
But that's about all I did, man. What
all right.
What about you? You're left on the table.
Yeah, so I had a week of quarantine fun. I finished Avatar.
Hey.
Overall liked it. Wasn't as in love as everybody seems to be with it, but I really liked the ending. The last season was really good through and through. The first season kind of sucked in my opinion, but overall thumbs up. I liked it. And then started Korra, and I'm already on season 2.
Let's go.
Burned through season 1. I'm really liking Korra now. I'm really into Korra. I think the animation's a lot better. It's a similar style, but it's just a little bit more cleaner and a little bit more bright. And I like what they did with all the characters, how they had the original, or how they had the characters in Korra be related usually to some way to the original characters. So you have Tenzin. I like Tenzin a lot. And then Aang's kids are really cool. And then you have Chief Beifong, who's Toph's daughter. Like it's a lot of cool connections that's fun seeing. And then I just think the story's been good. I like all the characters, so I've been really enjoying that. Honestly, probably enjoying that more than I'm enjoying Avatar, or was enjoying Avatar.
How do you feel about competitive bending?
I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's fun. I like it. Yeah, I'm not against it. Are people against it?
I think everybody's like that. I feel like that's most people's like favorite thing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I hope there's more of it because in season 2 so far there hasn't been a lot of it. So hopefully they go back to it in 3 and 4.
Yeah, Nathaniel and I both forgot how quick that show, like shit hits the fan.
Yeah, the first season is really good.
Yeah,
and it ramps up fast. Ramps up real fast. And they have some. The villain in the first season was really good. And yeah, the second season I'm not liking as much, but I'm still enjoying. And I've heard the third.
Second season's. I'm pretty sure second season is generally kind of considered the weakest.
That's what I've heard. So I'm gonna power through it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm like not mad at it.
For sure.
So I will be watching that as kind of like my main show going forward for a little bit longer. Hopefully I'll finish that out soon. And then other thing I watched, I actually watched this. Should have mentioned it last week because I watched it not this last week, but the week before. I watched A Star Is Born again. I don't know how many times I've watched the movie, but it's on my top 10. Weird thing about that movie is this is the first time I've watched it with my hue lights that sync. Why are you shaking your head, Nathaniel?
I just don't think that movie's that good.
You just don't like it? I'm not gonna be mad at you for it.
Yeah.
My brother might be. You might be starting another fight with my brother. That's his favorite movie.
That's okay. We I've been watching. I've been working out a little bit. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling spry. Really,
his grappling is insane, dude. He's come such a long way.
It's true.
But yeah, the weird thing about that movie is I have the hue lights that sync up with what I'm watching on my TV, and that was probably the best thing I've watched with my hue lights. Like it looks really good with them for some reason. I don't know what it is about that movie. Maybe it's just the way it's shot. Maybe it's the colors they're using. I don't know what it is, but it looked really good with my hue lights. So it's a little fun fact. Yeah. And the last thing I've been watching is a lot of the U.S. Open. Tennis is back, baby. Yeah, I'm a big tennis guy. I played a lot in high school. And
wasn't Novak? That was the kind of the big.
He was. I was watching when that happened. I was watching his match, rooting against him because I'm not a big fan of him in the first place. And then he hit a tennis
accidental
ball. Oh, it was 100% accidental. So what happened? About 5 minutes before he hit the line judge, he hit a ball into the fence that was about a foot. If he hit it any higher, like a foot higher, probably would have hit one of the cameramen that was sitting right there. And so that was kind of like like, okay, chill, Novak. And then tosses a ball back towards the line person, catches her in the throat, and I knew immediately he was going to get ejected. I knew immediately when he did that.
That's kind of like one of the rules, right? You just can't fuck with those guys.
You can't fuck with them. Especially like hitting a ball in any way. And if you hit somebody, it's basically an automatic default. There have been some they were talking about this on the broadcast when it happened, but there have been some cases where it doesn't happen like that. But the main thing is he hit her right in the throat and she went down immediately. Was having some trouble breathing and had to be taken off the court, which is the biggest thing for me watching that. That's pretty scary to see. So he knew he had it coming. I think they made the right call there, but yeah, it was a bit of a kerfuffle because he was the outright favorite to win the tournament because Federer and Nadal both took the tournament off for health concerns, of course. So he was really the favorite. He was cruising. There was really nobody touching him. And it just gets defaulted. So now the whole bracket's open. I'm really excited to see who wins because I think he was the only Grand Slam winner left in the draw because now that they're in the round of 16. So yeah, we're gonna keep watching that, but that's really been it. So, are you guys big tennis people? I'm assuming no, but
I am not.
No, I watch a little bit of it on television. So I mean, not necessarily while I'll sit down and watch an entire match, right? But if it is on, like I said, the U.S. Open, Australian Open, something like that, I'll certainly have it on for sure.
Yeah. The majors are a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Never really watched it.
No, it's you get a lot of appreciation after you play it. So if you don't play it, it's harder to get into.
Yeah, it's very difficult to play.
So yeah, you get a lot of appreciation if you play the sport because you realize how hard they're actually hitting the ball down there. It doesn't look like it on TV, but I mean, 130-mile-an-hour serve is no joke. Like my tennis instructor when I was in high school, his top serve he said was probably about 115, and he served me a few times, and it was just right by like it. And I can't imagine 15 miles more than that with all the spin too that you get on it. So it's crazy. You get a lot of appreciation when you play because it's people take it for granted. They watch tennis and think it's pretty simple. Just get the ball back. But when you're at that level, especially, it's a lot harder than it looks. All right, let's move on to the main segment here, boys. Inception. Nathaniel, why don't you give the listeners a little rundown of our little review segment here?
Yeah, so if this is your first time listening, folks, the way we do a review around here at Back Row Banter is basically we will introduce the movie, talk about the IMDb summary, give kind of a rundown of the directors and who's in it, and what year it came out, that kind of thing, and then we'll give you this the non-spoiler, spoiler-free plot summary for the movie from IMDb. And then we'll each kind of go around, give our first reactions, kind of what we feel about it, that kind of thing. Obviously, this is one that's been out for a little bit longer, and I think probably the most popular film that we've done so far.
I would say so. Yeah,
for mainstream audience.
Yeah, probably this or Prisoners.
Sure.
This probably beats Prisoners, but
yeah, I think. And then we'll just give our recommendations. Whether we like it or not, you can probably guess how they're going to be for this one, and then. After that, we'll talk spoiler summary for the rest of it. If there is anyone that hasn't seen Inception at this point,
it's been 10 years, people.
Yeah, we'll go a little bit deeper into our thoughts on it, that kind of thing, and then we'll close it out. Welcome back, all the listeners that maybe didn't want to be spoiled, if there are any of you, and rank it on our entropy list, and then get on out of here.
Yep, I will put a spoiler time mark for when we start talking about spoilers and stop talking about spoilers, and then you'll end up at the entry list portion of the review. So if you do not want spoilers, just go ahead and look in the description and skip to that little timestamp. All right, Nathaniel, let's give our little description of of this movie.
Yeah, so the movie's Inception. Came out in 2010, directed by and written by Christopher Nolan. And here's the summary. It says, a thief who steals corporate secrets through the use of dream-sharing technology is given the inverse task of planting an idea into the mind of a CEO. So, yeah, pretty much everything you need right there, right, boys?
that you know what? I don't even know if we need the review anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Tells you all you need to know. No, this is how long is this movie? 2.5 hours?
Yeah, I think
2 hours and 20
somewhere in
minutes.
there. 2:28.
So, it's hard to sum up a movie that long in one sentence. But why don't you fill in the gaps a little bit there, Nathaniel?
Yeah, so you're basically introduced to our crew, the leader of which is Leonardo DiCaprio, working with the old Chrissy Nolans, and our kind of point of view character as the audience is Ellen Page, who goes by Ariadne in the movie. who is the architect brought in to form the dream world. So I guess I should probably back up a little bit there, but Leo heads a crew of guys that steal your ideas and thoughts out of your dreams, basically, by hooking you up to a little device, and then you guys can and then allows you to share the dream, and then they can, through clever manipulation and some more tactics, they can discover your deepest thoughts. And this movie revolves around them instead trying to create an original idea in the mind of someone. So yeah. Also stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who's really great, as we've talked about before, and Cillian Murphy.
We want more.
Yeah, he should be in more things. And
Tom Hardy's in this as well.
Yeah,
He's probably
early Tom Hardy
Yeah,
appearance.
Tom Hardy. He's probably one of the bigger actors in this film as well.
Yeah,
alongside
Ken Watanabe.
Joseph. Yep.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
guys want to talk about your first thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so this is not everybody's first watch, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I don't know. How to
We've all seen this before.
I saw this in theaters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
okay.
decade ago.
A decade ago.
That's crazy.
Isn't that
Yeah,
wild?
I
Hmm.
mean, I remember the trailers and stuff for this coming out. Yeah, it's a long time. I can start really quick. Overall, I mean, this movie is fantastic. I think it's just like it introduces so many cool concepts that you kind of don't really think about very often. It's got a lot of twists to it. Pretty deep movie that you could probably watch. That you probably should watch more than once and get
for
more and
sure.
more out of it each time. Because there's a lot of. This is probably my second or third time watching it. I honestly don't even know, but I get more out of it every time that I watch it. So I would definitely recommend for me.
I feel like this is the one more than anything else that kind of established Nolan as this clockwork man who all of his films are all these just little intricate details, and everything it always has to do with time, and everything's always wound together in a certain way, and the laws of physics are yes and no and maybe so. And I feel like this is the one that really kind of established that aesthetic for him that's just kind of followed on since then. He's continued to kind of build on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is. I mean, because he's directed stuff before this, of course, but this is probably his most well-known film, I would say.
Dark Knight's probably.
Sorry, yeah, you know what? I take that back. Dark Knight for sure.
He's got a lot, folks.
He does have.
He does. Very well versed.
Yeah.
So
Blake?
that's a yes from Nathaniel.
Yeah, sorry. It's actually been a while since I'd seen this, probably 4 or 5 years. In its entirety. I'd seen clips obviously since then, but I had such a good time with this. It was so much fun to kind of revisit this for after such a long time, and kind of revisit it again. I think it is such a unique concept. There's something about it that is just it's one of those beautiful ideas that seems so obvious once you think about it, but it's just crazy that it hasn't been done before, kind of thing. And I'm just happy that it showed up in someone who is as skilled as Nolan is, and really enjoy it overall.
Ty, you want to go next?
Yeah, this is gonna be a pass for me. I just didn't get it. Like, are they sleeping or are they not? Like, who's awake?
Yeah. How does the world work?
Yeah, what is
Why
happening?
is he
Very unrealistic.
Beyblade all the time? Like,
obviously, this is a big thumbs up from me. If you haven't seen it, you're doing movies wrong. It's great. Plays with concepts that, again, a lot of people don't think about. It gets really deep. I think the first time I walked out of the theaters, I was like, I don't even know what life is. Am I dreaming? Am I asleep right now? But yeah, it's a great movie.
Makes you think. This movie really makes you think.
Makes you think.
It's like a
Both while you're
Matrix,
watching
kind of
and-
deep.
It is. Honestly, it is kind of
Wild,
Matrix,
bro.
deep, I would say.
Yep.
Yeah. Blake?
Yeah, I'm with the rest of the guys on this. Great movie, thumbs up for me. It was pretty cool to sit down and watch that after just watching Tenet 2-3 days prior. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool to see some of those parallels, not necessarily right the direct parallels that we're thinking of, but it's pretty cool just to kind of see his different side of thinking, right, in two different films immediately back to back. But yeah, I love it a lot. I don't think there's any more else to say. Super thumbs up for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be an all-around thumbs up, which I assumed going into this, and I'm assuming most listeners knew that and going into it as well. This is a movie where if you want to be into movies, it's probably a must-watch kind of thing. Kind of up there is probably one of the most famous movies ever, I would say. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's really up there.
Yeah, I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
I don't know about ever, but it's definitely been one of the tentpole movies the last few years.
Why wouldn't you say ever? I think it's definitely. I think it's a must-watch movie.
No, yeah, I just don't think it's one of the most famous movies of all time. I think there's other ones out there.
I think this is a must-watch film.
Because Nathaniel has seen infinitely more movies than you have.
Yeah,
and understands the universe in a way you can't comprehend. That's why.
He's just on another level.
But to Adam's point, though, I mean, I think most people who even remotely enjoy films would be like, "Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time."
I think it's
a Pulp Fiction, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's every film bro's favorite movie of the last 10 years. But no, I think I'm not saying that it's not a must watch. I think it is. I think it's probably Nolan's best film. For what he does. There's other ones I like more, but I think on a technical level, this might be his best film.
I don't know if I've seen. I think there's one or two Nolan films that I haven't seen. Some of his earlier stuff, but I would almost agree with that.
Yeah, I think I could agree with that. We could probably dig into that a little bit more, but on surface level, I'd probably agree.
All right, are we ready to go into the spoiler section, the meteor section? I think we're all kind of waiting to get in on this. So yeah, if you haven't seen Inception for whatever reason, go ahead, check the description. I have left a timestamp for you to skip to, but from here on out, it's going to be full of spoilers. So who wants to kick this off?
Yeah, I mean, is there a ton to spoil nowadays? I mean, they go into the dream, and then they go into a more dream, and then they do another dream, and then they may not make it out, but then they make it out.
Okay. Lots of dreaming.
Yeah. For anyone who hasn't seen this, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit. But Cillian Murphy's character, oh god, I forgot how this film starts for a second.
Are you dreaming?
Ken Watanabe actually hires Dom's crew, who is Leonardo DiCaprio's character, to plant the idea that that Cillian Murphy's character should break up his father's company. And the idea of Inception, of planting an idea in somebody's mind, is very tricky and may or may not have been done before. That's kind of explored over the length of the film. Eventually, it's revealed that DiCaprio has done this before by accident to his wife. Or not accident, but on purpose. Yeah, on purpose to wake up his wife, who he was exploring the dream space with, played by Marion Cotillard, who was really great in it. And yeah, I thought it was I mean, that's kind of the plot, and then they descend further into the dream, eventually finding Ken Watanabe character, who has previously died in the dream as a much older man, as they kind of share this vacant shore of the subconscious and come back changed men and older men, but better men maybe. And we'll go from there.
Yeah. Tyler, thoughts?
There's a lot. But
there's a lot to unpack. I don't know how you guys want to structure this kind of review, because we can just go off on tangents and stuff.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what's going to happen.
Everyone's seen it.
Everybody's got their inputs on certain scenes and stuff like that. I think one of my funnier takes from this watch was we were sitting there, and it was the hotel scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt is like spinning in the hotel down the hallway, and like I just look at Nathaniel, and I'm just like, so does that mean everybody else in the hotel room is just kind of like flopping around? Like,
Like one of those like inflatable guys.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And-
mean, I guess.
And well, yeah, and then like it was funny because we were like sitting there like flopping around ourselves because it's funny. And then he opens the door and like sure as shit, they're all just kind of like floating around, and I'm like, they have been just kind of flopping around, and they're somebody had to have been concussed. Dangerous work out there.
You get concussed in a dream?
I would assume.
It's a good question.
I don't think so.
I feel like you
It's
would
not
be.
your actual. Maybe you could feel. I guess if you could feel pain, you could feel that
Because
kind
like
of pain.
think like if you're sleeping and you fall and you hit your head, you can wake up and be concussed.
I don't think so.
It's a physical
Don't-
injury.
In the dream?
No. You would wake up from getting hit on the head.
Oh,
and
if
then
I-
you would
like in
be
real life.
concussed. Yeah.
Okay, correct. Yes, no, but I'm saying the people you're talking about, they were in the
They're
second
two
layer. of the
dream
dream.
layers deep.
They're,
Yeah.
they're in the second layer of the dream. So
I'm sure there
they
maybe
would.
be some blurry vision.
Okay,
All right, we'll go with
sure.
that.
You know,
Yeah, with the blurry
like
vision.
Saito gets shot, and then the deeper they go, the more healing he gets. So like maybe not concussed in the dream world that you are 2 levels down, but maybe you're like, oh, what the shit is this?
only I
Other
was
than that,
dreaming-
obviously, like I said, the only other movie that like hit me like this, as far as like where you get deep on the thought process, was like Matrix.
Yeah.
You get this vibe of like holy shit, like maybe there is something like that out there, and like maybe we are all not awake. And
It
this
kinda changes
grabs
the way
one
you
of those
think of it.
concepts like that, and yeah, it's just it's very weird. And at the end, when he's spinning the thing, it kind of topples, but it's kind of still spinning. It just leaves that question open, like, is he still dreaming, or did he finally wake up? And it just leaves you kind of just sit there and think, and it's
So
a huge thought.
Yeah, I do have something to say about the ending, but I'm going to save that for later.
Is it the ring thing?
No.
Yeah, I think we're all, us being movie heads, I think we're all kind of on the same idea of the end. My 2 cents. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I've talked about this movie so many times. I like it. I mean,
Yeah.
I do think the ending, right, for your average moviegoer is very ambiguous and ambiguous. Yeah, I mean, I think this is my maybe third or fourth watch probably. I just get a lot more out of it, and I'm able to pick up more information because I'm paying attention to stuff in the background, right? Not necessarily just a linear plot. But I do like it a lot. Leonardo DiCaprio does great. All the supporting roles are great. I do find it funny how what's the girl who's the architect? What is it? Ellen Page? I believe that's her name.
Yeah, Ariadne.
Yeah. There's like a funny thing where it's like almost a lot of her dialogue are like questions, and it's just really funny. I remember like hearing that as like a meme, like years ago, and then I was watching it again the other day, and it's like every time she talks, it's like a question. She's like, "Well, what happens in this in the dream? What happens if we do this?"
I'd be confused as shit too.
Yeah.
She definitely functions as the viewer. She's the exposition dump
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So everyone there is always like, "Well, Ariadne, this is what happens when you go into the dream state." Like,
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah,
right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right. But yeah, I like it, man. Big thumbs up for me. It's to Nathaniel's point. I mean, it's probably Nolan's best film. I think I like The Dark Knight the most.
Yeah.
That's just me, just surface level viewing it. This movie's super fun to watch. Where Inception obviously takes much more out of me to watch, right? At the level I should be watching it at. Yeah, I'd leave it at that. I still think it's a great movie though. So
Yeah, I think particularly on this watch, I didn't realize how early they start kind of seeding the idea of the father and son dynamic. I thought that was really, really beautiful in this kind of watch. It's such an elegant idea. I just the premise itself is so neat. And I mean that in kind of a clean way,
It's
not
very
a
unique, and I know what you mean.
way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a good idea. But no, I think especially on this rewatch, I was also taking note of the soundtrack in particular because that is one of the big issues I had with Tenet was the sound mixing. I had throughout the
I
film.
think we talked about that as soon as we left the theater.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I can't hear shit they're saying.
Yeah, and I think this movie catches a lot of kind of flack for the Inception horns, the bomb, because it's become so iconic so quickly. But in the movie itself, it's used really effectively. I think the sound design of this film in particular is really, really good. Nolan has such a good eye for cinema, for just shooting action and the way he frames his shots. I love that's so often in those exposition scenes that take place in the dreams. He does that very quick cut and then immediately gets into dialogue. So then DiCaprio even calls it out. He's like, you don't really remember, in a dream, you don't remember where it starts. And then you realize as the viewer that you don't have any real recollection of this scene starting either. And so it does, he uses filmic elements to play with the viewer as well, so that they are participating a little bit, which I think it's such a clever way of making movies and such an effective way of making movies. And Nolan gets a lot of flack sometimes for how he writes women, in particular in Tenet. We could talk about that another day, but he's not known for having the greatest female characters. I think Maul in this is a really good example of that. I think she's painfully human. She does a great job with that role. I was emotionally affected a lot more from her kind of suicide scene, in particular this watching, than I have been. I know I have been in the past. Granted, I was 10 years younger then, but it I love all the little elements that Dom brings into the dreams to show that he's kind of corrupting them. So like there's one point where he steps on glass. Cobb. Yeah, I keep calling him Cobb.
You say him Dom.
Dom. Well, that's his first name, isn't it?
On IMDb it just says Cobb.
I think he's Dominic Cobb or something like that.
No, I just think of Dominic Toretto in Inception, and it's terrible.
Yeah, that would not be fun. It'd be kind of fun if he was driving the train.
Can
though.
you imagine?
That pulls near
They'll put that in fucking Fast 14.
Yeah.
Another Pete Postlethwaite sighting in this film, which we saw him not too long ago in another one of the movies we watched. R.I.P. for him. But yeah, do you guys have a favorite dream level that they go to?
Of the three?
Yeah, 3, 4, whichever ones they do.
I mean, I like the first one when they initially go in and it's like, oh, it's raining. It's like, oh, you couldn't have taken a piss. Like that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
But then like things immediately hit the fan when that train comes through the traffic.
Yeah, that plane goes to shit real quick.
Yeah, and they even say it. I think Cobb even says it. DiCaprio even says it while during that like that long 10-15 minute just exposition of here are the rules for dream walking or whatever you want to call it, dream sharing. He's like, yeah, we can't plan too much ahead of time because we're just gonna have to get in there and improvise basically, because dreams are never going to go how you want them to or plan to. So things are going to have to be improvised, and immediately that's what we see. This thing's going to shit.
Yeah, and I think I was reading some of the IMDb. They talk about how each main character's name creates the word dream. Because that's how I know it is. Yeah, it was Dom. Yeah, because I think if you take the first letter of everyone's name, of their first name, they end up spelling dream or something like that.
Interesting.
Ariadne led Theseus out of the labyrinth. She basically designs labyrinth, or in Greek mythology, she gave Theseus the thread that he used to get out of the labyrinth and defeat the Minotaur.
Gotcha.
And
yeah, I like cool stuff like
designs labyrinth in this one. We see the maze motif again. Throwback to Prisoners. That's always fun. For me, it's that shot where they fold the city. Like that bit's so great. Yeah. I love that. I really like the second dream too, the hotel.
I think I like the snow scene dream the most. Is that third level?
That's 3.
Yeah, and like I think the only reason I like that the most is because that's where like that's where the meat comes in. That's where you plant the seed of Inception, and that's where everything's supposed to happen. And it's really cool to finally get to that vault that they kind of consistently play to, and that's kind of where everything ties together. And I think that's probably my favorite scene, and it just makes me want to play some kind of video game where you have to be some kind of sniper in the winter.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2
Nathaniel, is that all you have on
might have
the
come out
movie?
2010 as well.
Yeah,
Modern Warfare 2 did come out in 2009, actually.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't have anything great and profound to say. I feel like this movie, it's one of those ones that is so well known and is so talked about that I don't feel like I bring too much nuance and new
Yeah.
ideas to the table. But
I think my biggest takeaway from this watch for me was kind of realizing, and I'm sure this has been said, so this is not something new, but I guess I just didn't really notice how much of like Cobb's life is also this maze that he's found himself in.
Mhm.
Every which way he is kind of turned in his life, he's kind of hit a dead end, or he kind of gets screwed. And so this is kind of like a story of him kind of finding his way out of his maze, back to his kids and his life, and finally forgiving himself for Maul. And even his dreams are kind of a maze. When they're going like down that elevator, you can see how many different alleys or avenues that he's gone down with her, and kind of how they end up there. And so I think that's my biggest takeaway from this, is kind of how they tie him in with everything else being a labyrinth, and finding his own way out. And so I guess that's my biggest thing.
Yeah.
yeah,
no,
I think
Go ahead,
for
Nathaniel.
me, I think this film is a very interesting time capsule. It's one of those things that has become iconic so quickly and so kind of singularly.
Singularity?
Singularly, yeah. That now and for kind of the generations to come after, it's going to be one of those pedestal movies, those ones that's up
Mhm.
there,
sure.
which we've kind of, I think, alluded to a little bit. But yeah, I my main takeaway from this one was I want Ken Watanabe to be in more things too, because I think he's so great in this
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, he was.
Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly. And I wish DiCaprio and Nolan would work together again. I thought they were a really good pair. So,
Have they done anything since this?
no,
what I thought.
he used Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Tom Hardy
And Tom Hardy, yeah.
and Marion Cotillard and obviously Michael Caine in
Immediately after this.
Dark Knight Rises. Yeah,
Literally, that's probably his next film.
yeah, and
I believe it
so
was, yeah.
I want to do more stuff with them again. It was really good.
I absolutely love this movie. I remember the first time I watched it. It was, as I've said a few times, it's changes the way you think, and it definitely did for me. Just coming away from it, another kind of Matrix movie with a weird concept, and I think Nathaniel, you said it's like a very neat and unique idea and concept. And I think what makes the movie so good with that concept is that it's handled so well. Because we talked about Project Power a few weeks ago, how very interesting concept that was kind of mishandled and probably could have done better with. And I'm just so glad that such a great concept was given to Nolan, or if Nolan came up with it, like he handled it and executed nearly perfectly. Like there's few things with this movie that I would change.
Mhm.
I think it's very good through and through. I like how the movie plays with time a lot, because you do have the multiple layers of, you have in real time
where it
on
extends.
the surface. Yeah, exactly. So it's towards the climax of the movie, you have 3 different rates of time that you have to kind of bounce between. Because when they're on the snow, 3rd level, it's what is it, 10 times slower than in real life, and then
20,
the second level is
something like that.
20, something like
Yeah.
that, and then it's like 4 times slower on the second level, and then it's whatever the time scale is. And I think that does that very well, because as you're hopping in between them, you kind of have to adjust how much time on screen means for the characters. So Nathaniel's talked about the clocks or timers that directors set in the past. You kind of have 3 going almost, that are all going to be in sync, but you kind of have to adjust what's going on screen with how much time's passing. It's just that's not really done a lot. Having 3 different kind of time scales going. So I really like how they handled that. yeah, and incredibly acted. DiCaprio's great in this. All the supporting cast is too. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think the mall dynamic really works, and it kind of drives through the whole movie, and is kind of revolves almost around the whole movie. Because while the movie is about them trying to do Inception, it's mainly about Cobb and Maul and their story and how that connects with what's going on in the movie and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm always interested when someone decides to go with the name Maul because it's just the root word for Latin, just meaning bad. So like, it's just I always find it interesting when characters are named that's
Darth Maul.
well, yes, but also
Spelled different.
Maul Reynolds from Firefly is the same thing. Malcolm Reynolds. But yeah, I always think it's just a little bit on the nose for this movie. But
the other
what are you
thing
gonna do?
I like that this movie does, and it takes, like I said before, it takes about a 15-minute chunk of the movie and just explains all the rules for you. It's just like, because you are Ariadne in that time frame, and it's just DiCaprio and Joseph Gordon-Levitt going, okay, so this is what's, you have this happening, you can't do this, and all this stuff, and it kind of explaining to Ariadne and the viewer at the same time. But it doesn't feel like it's hitting on the head with it. Kind of, you kind of feel like, oh, you need to prepare. This is how we're preparing for this heist, this dream heist, if you will. And I don't know. I thought it did that really well, where other movies might hit it on the head a little bit too much. I think it just very
and
well
I love how Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like, hey, you ever realize how much time Cobb spends doing the things he tells you not to do?
Mhm.
yeah, that's a great line. Yeah, the CGI in this movie is not as good as I remember it the first time I watched it. It hasn't aged great. It's not bad by any means.
Right.
I've definitely seen worse, but the CGI heavy shots, it was 2010. 10 years can make a lot of difference with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think on a film like this where so much practical stuff is emphasized, or it is emphasized how practical everything is, those shots when you do need to kind of cheat and use green screen or CGI,
Yeah, you can
you don't have the same budget really,
Mhm.
because it's got to go somewhere. So yeah, it is a little bit more noticeable now. But I think people nowadays, I don't think audiences get enough credit for looking back at older movies and just being like, yeah, that's what it was back then, and it still looks awesome. It's still an awesome movie.
Yeah,
Like a
it
lot of
doesn't
times
it
they
doesn't
kinda do.
detract at all from the movie. It
Yeah.
doesn't make it a worse movie, but it just was something I noticed while watching.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I remember this being like the
Spectacle.
yeah, like this was incredible to watch. Like this was some of the best CGI for the time, and going back 10 years later and watching it, it's not amazing, but it was at the time. So that was just something that I thought interesting, because I always think of Inception as being one of like having some of the best CGI
Sure.
that was made for the time, because it hasn't aged particularly well.
I think
So
for
I
me
just thought that was
too,
interesting.
what I love about this is it is an original concept. It's kind of the last big movie that was an original concept that went out and became famous and was a huge, phenomenon kind of thing. You had Avatar before that, and then you had this, and then you haven't really had anything since. Everything else has been, a Marvel movie or a DC movie or a Harry Potter or something like that. It's all these established audiences already,
Right,
that
franchises,
that then are created after that, which I'm okay with, and I think it's good, but I do miss the days of the original summer blockbuster too.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. There's something about that.
Yeah, and even
I-
Adam, just watching this now in Inception, dude, I would encourage you to go see Tenet as soon as you can, man. I think you'll
I'm
love
going
it.
to this week for sure. We're gonna do that as a review for next week, correct?
Yeah,
I believe that was the plan.
or whenever you're available to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll have
but-
some time. I'll make some time this week to go see it
I'll
for sure.
probably go see it again.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna
Yeah,
have to
I
too.
Like I
might see it
said,
twice. We'll see.
I would recommend it for sure, because even us through when we saw it, I mean, the first hour and a half, I don't know what the fuck I was watching.
Yeah,
know?
they really, yeah.
And then it finally
There's a
hits you,
certain
and
point in the movie where it all turns.
right. And then on second watch, being able to kind of digest more of that first half, because you know what's happening. You know what I mean? It makes it easier to understand. So yeah, I think you guys will like it for sure. In terms of Inception, though, have we all come to an agreement that Cobb is awake at the end?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it
Yes,
is.
agreed.
I would agree. So what I was gonna bring up earlier, is Michael Caine.
Oh yeah,
has-
yeah, I know this one too. Go ahead.
He came out a few years ago, and gave a little piece of information that Nolan gave to him, basically saying, here, I'll try to pull up the quote. Basically saying Nolan told him anytime that Michael Caine is on screen, that you're on screen, that's reality. Because he's in the final little cut scene, or the final little sequence of the movie when they all wake up on the plane and you do see Michael Caine in there. Obviously, that would lead you to believe that that is indeed reality. I'm trying to find the exact quote here. This is not showing it.
Yeah, I've come across that before though too. He basically says any scene that he's present is reality.
Yeah,
And you see him
so-
open up the door at the end to say like, "Hey kids, your dad's here," or whatever.
Yeah, so here we go. This quote, when I got the script of Inception, I was a bit puzzled by it. I said to Nolan, I don't understand where the dream is. I said, when is it reality when is it dream and when is it reality? He said, quote, well, when you're in the scene, it's reality. So get that. If I'm in it, it's reality. If I'm not, it's a dream. So that kind of ended the debate a little bit.
Is it though, or is Michael Caine just like, or is
He also
Christopher
could be
Nolan just kind of a jackass? Is like, yeah, well, when you're there and acting it, it's reality, Michael. Like,
that could also be it for sure. That's yeah. He could also be playing with it, but it does wobble.
I've seen, it wobbles. I've seen too that the top is never Cobb's totem. The top was always Maul's totem. Yeah. So Cobb's totem we never actually see, and the speculation that I've seen on the internet is that it's actually his wedding ring, which you do not see anytime he's in the dream, but anytime he's out of the dream, he's wearing one.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that, but that would make sense because that is something I thought of during the movie. I was like, you're not supposed to touch other people's totems, but that's not even his totem.
Yeah, so
I think one of the other indicators for me too is he sees his kid's face. Faces. He constantly says, "I don't want to see their faces until I'm back home and I'm up," and so he finally sees them. So I think that's a pretty good indicator that he's awake too.
Yeah, that's my big one for.
And I just don't think Nolan's that much of a. I think Nolan's just a gushy guy down at the center of his core. I think
aren't we all?
Some of his other films see that. Cobb's been through enough.
Yeah, he had. Yes, man. I definitely think it makes it back to reality. I wouldn't.
Real quick, what would your totem be?
I was about to ask the question. That same question.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I don't know. I thought about that the first time I watched the movie, and I was like, what would my totem be? And I never really came up with a good one. I've been trying to think of one, but I haven't really come up with a good one. I don't know. Do you have one, Ty, that you want to share?
I'm trying to think of something like now, but it would have to be something that like I feel like I carry on me every day.
Right.
But then I guess it wouldn't matter. It could just be anything because at that point, if it's my totem, then I would carry it every day.
Well, I think the purpose is that it performs a certain way.
Yeah, so it has to like do something specific that only you know, right?
Like a salt shaker.
You're gonna carry a salt shaker.
But her,
yeah, you've never seen that? Some people do that.
But her totem doesn't operate in a specific way. It's a pawn that's got a little bit of weight taken out of it.
But
like
I think it falls over the same way. I think it moves over the same way every time. Or it falls over the same way every time.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Oh, so you're saying she took one specific side out?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
Just like JGL's is
got
Loaded Die.
The Loaded Die, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one in the movie.
I think it's easily the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know. It's hard to think of something that I could carry around that has
maybe like a pog.
Pog. Old school. Do you even know what a pog is, Adam?
No, I just very confused. Should I look this up?
Pogs were life.
Maybe a tech deck. Maybe I'll bring my tech deck around.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a good one.
That wins it for sure.
I found my totem. There you go.
Damn.
You could do a pen or something like that, or like a shank.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. Oh, you know what? I did think of one. It was a black pen, but it's not black ink. Only I know the color of the ink. That's what I thought of.
That's a good one.
Right when you said pen, the other day in the shower, I was thinking, as I do.
You're like a fake tooth.
Which tooth is fake? You'll never know.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like these ideas.
I honestly don't know.
All right, are we good on Inception?
Idea.
Do you guys have anything else to add, or anything else you guys want to say before we move on to the entropy list here?
Tell us in the
Ooh.
comments what your totem would be.
This is going to be interesting on that on the entropy list, man.
We're going to get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Are we good to move on?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think so. I think listeners have definitely have their own opinions formed of this movie, and I think everybody's pretty much on the same page.
All right. Well, welcome back, listeners, to wanted to skip over the spoilers. I'm not sure who you are, but hello, we're back. Entropy list time, boys. What are you guys thinking?
Where do you have the entropy list up now? I want to look at it. Is it on Letterboxd?
It's on Letterboxd. I have the link in the show notes for you.
All right.
Let me pull
go
it up
straight
as
to
well.
straight
Because
to
it's what is it? It's Arrival, Pan's Labyrinth, Prisoners.
Yeah, I can read it. We don't have too
Green
many on here,
Room.
but like I said, eventually I'm gonna have to not read them all. But it's Arrival
Blind
1, Pan's
Spotting.
Labyrinth 2, Prisoners 3, Green Room 4, Blind Spotting 5, King of Staten Island 6, Project
Yeah.
Power 7, and American Pickle is number 8.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
what it was.
Inception is gonna land somewhere in between two of those movies. Tyler, where would you put it at?
I don't know. Circle back.
Circle back. Blake, do you have an idea of where you're thinking?
Jeez. I'll go 2.
2. You don't think it beats Arrival?
I can't.
So why don't you think? Why do you choose Arrival over Inception?
Yeah, I'll probably have to plead my case. I think it'll end up being number 1. I just personally, I feel like I like Arrival more because I feel like Arrival to me is more. I like sci-fi,
Okay.
and Arrival to me is like my golden ticket of sci-fi. I do think this film though is notoriously held as, if not one of the best films of the last 10 years, if not one of the best films of the 2000s. You know what I mean? One of Nolan's best films. So I know that this film has a very high price tag with it. So I mean, I know it'll probably end up being number 1. But I would personally put it at number 2. Like I said, that's because it's not my personal favorite. But I know kind of the greatness it has.
Yeah, that all definitely makes sense.
I think it's gonna be number 5 for me.
Number 5. So you're putting it below Green Room?
But yeah, below Green Room, above Blind Spotting.
Interesting. Why do you say all the way down there?
Yeah, I need to hear that.
I like all those other movies more. I like Inception, and I think it's fun and I love it. I think, there's a part of me that like always, I'll never say no if someone's like, "Hey, you want to watch Inception?"
Right.
But personally, I like the other movies more. I think and I've watched those other movies multiple times since I've seen Inception, and I've only seen Inception probably 2 or 3 times since then. So, I just feel like almost objectively, I kind of feel like I value some of those other movies more than that. But yeah, that's kind of where it is for me.
Yeah, I think
I'm
I'd
okay
agree.
with
That's fair.
wherever it goes. I recognize that it has a certain amount of prestige.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But just if we're putting it on the list, I don't have a problem putting it down there.
So, Nathaniel, you said you like the other movies more, but looking at it a little bit more objectively, where would you rank it?
I don't know. If we're looking at this, yeah, I mean, if we're looking at this objectively, I think there's a couple different. The list would be different, anyways.
Sure.
So I think, is it better made film than Arrival, than a better made film than Pan's Labyrinth, better made film than Prisoners? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're all pretty close to one another, to be honest with you, in terms of level of quality. I think, Pan's Labyrinth is definitely more diverse. Prisoners, I think, bites a little harder. Arrival's got, Arrival has a similar-ish plot, I would think,
Right.
to it, So yeah, I don't know. I would say 4 for me, but I'm willing to change.
Mhm.
Or
Say
5 for
4.
me. 5
Okay.
5 for me. Yeah.
All right.
Adam.
Well, I was gonna go to Tyler before I spoke.
Okay.
Tyler, are we circling back yet, or do you want me to go?
No, you can circle back. I still think this is just really hard.
It is.
And I think we're going to be all over the board. I would have to say probably 3 or 4. I guess I
Mhm.
don't have a. It's just that's really hard. 3 at the highest, 4 at the lowest. I think.
All right.
Any reason for that?
If we're going just
your
solely off of how I feel, Pan's Labyrinth is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I can't consciously put it above that. I think it obviously plays with some really good ideas. It's one of the greatest films I think made in the last decade. But I think it's great, but I don't think it's above Pan's Labyrinth.
Mhm.
Okay. I honestly I don't know where to put this either, because I see the arguments you guys are making. Especially Nathaniel, like I honestly probably enjoyed Green Room or Arrival more than I enjoyed this movie, at least on the second viewing. On the first viewing, I remember having a lot more visceral of a reaction, and maybe that's playing part of it, playing into it a little bit. If I had to put it on the list, I could go 2.
Mm.
I kind of want to put it 1 just because I think I like the mind melting almost of Inception. I think I walked away from that a little bit more affected than I did Arrival, even though Arrival does have some cool concepts that you kind of play with after you stop watching it.
Mhm.
But I think Arrival is a little bit tighter of a movie, maybe a little bit. I don't know. It's really tough. Oh man. Yeah, I would go. I don't think it's gonna go at 1. That's probably, honestly, looking at this list, I would probably put it at 1. Personally, but you guys don't seem to agree with that, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Are we thinking like a 4 here? I think that's like kind of a compromise on where we're all landing.
I can live with that. Certainly.
In between Prisoners and Green Room here.
I can live with that.
I think that's fine. I think if we're gonna do the average of all of ours with like a 1, Blake, you said 2, Nathaniel, you said 5, and I said 3. That would be the average of our score would be a 3. Technically, it's a 2.75.
Sure.
But
do we want to? I mean,
I'd be okay with 4
honestly
want to go with
could
4.
see it. I could see it above Prisoners personally.
You guys know I'm a Danny V advocate. I would certainly put it below Prisoners if given the option.
And it looks like Nathaniel's going that way as well. He's holding up 2 hands that have the 4 fingers
that equal 8, which means he wants it to be tied with an American Pickle.
That I would
this
not
film
be okay
shits
with.
on American Pickle. No, it's a way
American
better
Pickle
film
doesn't even.
than American Pickle.
Yeah. All right. I think we can settle on 4 then.
I think I'm cool with 4.
4.
All right. That was a lot lower than I thought.
I think everyone in this really likes this movie, but we don't have that emotional attachment to it.
Sure.
I think, like I said, it also might be the fact that we're watching it for a second or third time.
That's exactly what it is.
And
Adam,
it's aged a bit. So I think we just don't have that
second or
to
fourth.
it.
It's 10 years old. You've seen it a handful of times. You've had these conversations a handful of times already.
You've seen it demoed. That's the other thing too. I remember they used to do this as a demo all the time. It was in all the commercials for years afterwards.
So let me ask you guys this then. I'm sorry, Nathaniel, go ahead.
I was just saying, I think my prediction next week is I don't think Tenet's cracking number 1 on top 10, but I think if the roles were flipped, and Tenet came out when Inception did, and Inception came out when Tenet did. I think I think Inception might then have been our number one. Yeah,
I could see that. So my question was going to be obviously two great directors, two juggernauts. So just off us putting this Inception at 4, right? That's one of Christopher Nolan's best films. Between Christopher Nolan and Denny V, right? Like, what's your guys' ranking of those? Who do you think is the better director?
They're both similar, man. I don't know.
I would say I haven't seen a ton of Denny V, but I've seen most of Nolan. The Denny V I've seen is Arrival, Prisoners, 2049. I really haven't seen much else that he's done, so I can't really give you a fair answer on that. Nathaniel's probably going to be the better person to, but personally, I would say Denny V probably has the higher batting average than Nolan does. I would say his movies overall are probably higher slugging average than Nolan's, but that's both pretty good. I don't know. Nathaniel looks like he's in distress over there.
I don't know. This is hard because I look at like Christopher Nolan, and he's kind of become this. He's almost kind of getting into like a commercial kind of aspect. Like he's been around for so long, and I think he's
an institution.
He's known more. And then like you look at Denny V, and I think a good way to describe that is I think his batting average might be a little higher, just because I don't think he's done as much as Nolan.
True. Yeah,
and I
Nolan's
think,
been around for a while.
Yeah, and I think he's just got a little bit more of that kind of factor right now over Nolan. But
the X factor.
Yeah,
I think both of these guys are what's called an auteur or an auteur if you're new to film studies, which is kind of comes from this theory from French theorists in the early, I want to say 60s, maybe even earlier than that, 50s, from the French journal Cahiers du Cinéma. And the auteur theory is basically that the director is the author of the film, that they are the ones that go and create, they are the ones that are single-handedly most in control of the film. And both these guys really fill into kind of that idea. I mean, that theory is arguable for however you want to do it, but they are pretty good examples of it. I think as an overall director, Nolan is the bigger talent for his kind of contributions. I think Denny V is better at constructing his films, but he almost always works from an adaptation or a continuation. Nolan is the one that does more original ideas, and more kind of pushes the genre a little bit further. I think Denis Villeneuve probably is a better technical director, and definitely does more with his camera. But I think Nolan's might be the better director of the two.
Okay,
I could agree with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. I think I'm actually a bigger fan of Denny right now with what he's done in the last few years. But I think at the end of the day, kind of like what we talked about a little bit, I think Nolan may be the one that's going to be better known in history and that kind of thing.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it then for Inception here, boys. Next topic, like I said before, we are going to do Tenet or Tenet, whichever one. So go ahead and see that if you have not already. I will be doing that, but these three gentlemen have already done it. Blake's already done it twice. Are you, Nathaniel, tired? You guys say you're going to probably go back and get another watch?
I'll probably go see it again if we're definitely going to do it for the podcast.
Yeah, I'll probably do it again as well.
Get a bit more of a refresher on
it. Might have to go see it twice then. We'll see. Do we have any 5-star reviews there, Nathaniel?
Ooh, let me check for us. I seem to forget to do this every time, but don't worry. We are getting particularly good at filling.
Yeah, no, Tyler's great at filling. Tyler, go.
The salted pork is particularly good.
The salted pork.
What is that from?
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. It's right after the Ents.
We do not.
Two beautiful hobbits take over Isengard.
True.
No 5-star?
No 5 stars reviews this week. Listeners, drop us a 5-star review.
And
And you could say what you want. I'm sorry. I kind of spaced out there for a second. Yeah. So the way that works, listeners, is if you give us a 5-star reviews, we will read it on pod. I will say your name. You can hear this great and dulcet voice say anything that you want it to say, even positive or negative. So please drop us a review. It just has to be 5 stars.
Well, there you go. If you don't want to drop us a review and want to contact us directly, you can do so. Our email is backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your reviews of the movies we're watching, as long as they're short. I haven't checked our mailbox. We should go do that.
I reckon it's stuffed to the brim. It cannot hold any more emails.
Probably with spam, if I had to guess. Let me see. Yep, nothing.
Oh, see, it was so full that they had to empty it. So we just gotta get it filled back up.
Of course. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and email us. Email us at backrowbanterpod@gmail.com. Send us the reviews of the movies we're doing, and we can do movie suggestions. Inception did come from one Brandon Wozni. So if you want to if you want to get your little recommendation on here, go ahead and give us an email. If you want to find us on Twitter, we're at Banter Row, and we're also on YouTube. We're Back Row Banter. Go give us a sub there. We would appreciate that. Instagram. What's the Instagram? I always forget to put it.
The Instagram, I believe, is also Back Row Banter Pod.
Oh, there you go.
Follow us there.
Blake,
come see me.
Yeah, Blake, where can the people find you at?
Letterboxd, my man. BlakeHolder.
Yes,
so I'll be on there. One thing I really want to get to. I really want to finish session 9, and I think that may be one of my first reviews. To be honest with you guys,
look out,
or at least be able to put some notes down on that one. So yeah, that's excuse me. That's my goal for this week. And the Letterboxd is my full government name, BlakeHolder, first and last.
And your social security number?
That's not included.
Alrighty, Tyler.
Oh, hey guys. I think Nathaniel said it a little bit earlier, but we picked up Avengers, and the only reason I'm saying that is because that is a game that I will probably want to stream more.
I think that was off pod, but
either way, a little fun fact for you, bit of sizzle. I will definitely try to stream that because that looks really fun. But that is El Trabajo 87, ELTRABAJO 87, twitch.tv. And then Insta, Letterboxd, and Twitter, you can find me at Tyler Vidalis, VIDALES.
And last but not least, it's Nathaniel Gingrich. Nathaniel, the people want to find you. Where can they do that?
You can always find me in your hearts, folks. I'm always there. Just listening. That's what I do, really. As much as I talk on here, I listen everywhere else. You can also find me on Letterboxd at NSGingrich. That is NSGINGRICH. Same thing on Twitter. And then you can also get me on Instagram at NathanielG92. My name is spelled with an IEL, not any other ways. But also, keep a lookout, folks. I might have something a little bit more in the works coming at you soon. Particularly if you like some spooky things. But we'll see. It's under construction.
Alrighty.
And I'm on Twitter. I'm at amschwartzy. Same for Letterboxd, actually. Just found out that those are linked, and I can't change my Letterboxd if I don't change my Twitter.
Cannot. That is a true fact. Can't even change your profile picture. Mine's still, for whatever reason, some broke-ass one from like 12 years ago.
On Twitch, I'm at Aisha. I probably won't be streaming Marvel's The Avengers, but I'm planning on bringing the stream back soon. So stay tuned. And that's gonna be it from us. See you guys next week for Tenet or Tenet, whichever one you prefer. Nathaniel prefers Tenet. I prefer Tenet.
It's Tenet now, I think.
It is Tenet.
Yeah, it's confirmed. It's Tenet. And Nathaniel's an idiot.
False. Big false.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Nathaniel. You're the smartest guy I know.
Thanks, man. Love you too.
Wow.
Thanks, dude. All right. Well, we'll BRB, listeners. That's when you guys go BRB.
I'm last, man. I'm waiting on the.
I was waiting for Nathaniel.
Hey, be excellent to each other, and we'll BRB.
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 Nathaniel took so long to do that.
I know.
Oh boy.
Suspense.
The pregnant pause.
Suspense.
America. Ready for another lesson.
Nathaniel, do you consider yourself one who knows a lot about football?
No, not at all. Everything I know from fantasy.
That's solid.
Do you do a lot of fantasy, Blake?
I haven't the past 2 years. Before that, I did a lot, but I was in 2 leagues at the same time, and I made it to the championship in both leagues,
Damn.
and I lost both championship games, and I was devastated.
I figured
never played
I
fantasy
knew where
since
that was
then.
going based on the.
I
tone of
won
your
last
voice.
year.
Yeah,
Did
so
you
that
really
was
win last
just
year?
crushing enough. What was that? What was your pot? What'd you win?
I think it was 150 maybe.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Something like that. Yeah, we don't go crazy. I think each guy puts in $30 or something like that.
Right.
And that's stressful enough as it is.
Exactly.